When it comes to energizing and riveting suspense in games, nothing surpasses horror. In the past, game companies like Capcom and Konami were primarily responsible for horror games. Yet the last 10 years has demonstrated that indie developers are a power that can't be ignored anymore, especially after they proved that they are capable of creating the most impressive, frightening titles that can give us the most immersive experience possible. When we talk about striking fear into the hearts of players, indie video games tend to have an edge. The ambiguity of an undefined and barely visible threat is far more terrifying than seeing a monster clearly and in high resolution. Even pixel graphics can create environments that are both aesthetically pleasing and incredibly unnerving. In this video, we are going to dive deep into the world of indie horror so we can list some of the most creepy and haunting games. The titles on our list are not just designed to give you some jump scares or make you face monsters, but their ultimate purpose is to test your ability to endure fear along with pressure and mental strain.
Hello?
Good evening, my friend.
Good evening, Sam.
I have a special case for you. A girl went missing near the old RIS. You're the only one who can find her, Arthur. I left some papers about the place in your office.
Orphanage RIS? Oh, of course, my friend. I will help you in this case, rest assured. I'll investigate the place.
You're the best. Just be careful, alright?
Don't worry about it. Just leave it to me. I'll see you, Sam.
See you, Arthur.
Indicted is a first-person psychological horror game that delves into the frightful psyche of Arthur, a law enforcement agent with a problematic history. It offers realistic visuals and environments, as well as a tinge of horror from the 1980s and 1990s, creating a one-of-a-kind survival experience. In the game, Arthur is looking for absolution and ends up taking on one last job. Kids have been vanishing and all indications point to the old orphanage where a large number of horrible murders happened. Arthur has to explore the area, coming up against otherworldly and strong powers, re-experiencing his prior agonies and being evaluated for his wrongdoings. This interesting narrative with a lot of unexpected turns will show you that not all is what it appears to be. At times, settling on a false decision might be the best course of action. Even though this game is not well known, and I'm pretty sure many of you never heard of it, but I can assure you that playing it will give you one of the most intense and creepy horror experiences that can definitely make you quit before completing it.
Can you find me?
The story of this game is clear. For a long time, the protagonist David Livingstone has been involved in the practice of exorcism and sorcery. After years of hard work, he is now feeling exhausted and worn out and decided to put an end for his career. However, on the occasion of his retirement, a lady named Margaret Carney wrote him a letter. She mentioned that her husband is a captain of a ship who went to Vatican on a mission and purchased a Ouija board for his daughter. After she used the board, her daughter got possessed by a demon. As David Livingstone is known to be an expert in exorcism, Margaret Carney is counting on his help and assistance as she is unable to handle the situation herself. On your quest, you must explore everything around you and focus on the details. But trust me, it's not easy as it sounds, especially when you're being watched and hunted by the possessed girl throughout your mission. You will hear laughing sounds, footsteps, and breathing that will make you more uncomfortable than ever. On average, it takes an hour to complete the game, but it will be the longest hour of your life.
I am right behind you.
From the preliminary interview, I got to know that he suffers from a dream disorder. He has constant nightmares and can't sleep well.
A family's tragedy. A mother and child were murdered, and the violator was...
I know that we will have our dream garden one day.
Rise of Insanity is a first-person horror game with VR compatibility that takes its cues from classic psychological horror films including The Shining, The Exorcist, and Silent Hill. The story takes place in the United States during the 1970s and focuses on Dr. Stephen Dowell, a distinguished psychologist who is presented with a complicated patient that exhibits disparate yet conflicting indications of diverse psychological diseases. The doctor's own life is somewhat of an enigma, and the player must step up and assume his role to discover what really happened.
Patient Edward, 41. Taking some pieces of advice from my friend Abraham, I established that Eddie suffers from a very mild split personality disorder. The other personality hasn't shown yet, and hasn't taken him under control. There are only problems with memory and mild tics. I have to think about the kind of therapy I will apply.
You need to investigate what devastating circumstances has your family been subjected to, and if the person you are attempting to heal with your experimental methods in any way accountable for it. Whatever happens, you must remain calm and do not succumb to fear. Otherwise, you will lose your sanity and surrender to your nightmares. It takes approximately 1 hour and a half to finish the story. But the real question is, can you handle the atmosphere of this game and finish it? I personally doubt it.
Look, I'll be honest. I don't expect much of you, but for your own sake, can't you do any better? Well, let's get to work.
Oxide Room 104 is a single-player horror game where you are trapped in an old motel and must escape the clutches of a cruel scientist and a menacing creature. You need to use your logical thinking and problem-solving abilities as you would in reality to get out of the situation. The game combines the elements of an escape room with action. It begins when you come to consciousness in a motel room bathtub, without clothing, hurt, and having no idea what has taken place. You recollect that the bargain had gone awry, but now the only thing that is important is attempting to get away from that frightening locale however it takes. Starting from this point, everything you do will direct you to one of the conclusions. And it will caution you that of the many potential outcomes, just one of them is fortunate.
And that man, but how did I get here? And how did I get so banged up?
There are plenty of solutions and methods that can help you out of any given situation, and there are many courses of action to take. Certain decisions can lead you to a new point of view and may even result in an unexpected outcome. But you need to take care when making decisions, as they can ultimately decide whether you live or die.
It's locked.
Am I really doing this? Moving so far away from civilization to be the man who will turn the tide of war when everything else fails. Millions of lives are at stake. And I have to save them, finish my work, break the code before it breaks me. Time is not on my side. Determination means everything now. For too long I've been misled, but the answer was there, right in front of me.
The Beast Inside is a captivating and suspenseful take on the thriller and horror games. This game combines a compelling story-based adventure with a chilling survival horror atmosphere. The player will delve into the narrative of long-forgotten secrets, individual disasters, and insanity. You play as two characters living in different eras, yet connected by a dark lineage.
What is he doing in our house? Is he the one responsible for my father's disappearance? What if they're in the basement? No. I'd rather not think of whose blood that was. My head.
You can't come in here! Hear me, you snot! You're not allowed here!
wrong with me?
The events take place in 1979. A guy named Adam, a CIA cryptanalyst, left Boston and relocated to the countryside with his wife, Emma. The agency was concerned that it would be hard to keep him safe in this area, but Adam thought this was the ideal place to attempt to crack a military code that could potentially alter the Cold War. Unfortunately, the area was anything but serene. In the attic of his new home, Adam discovered a journal written by a man named Nicholas Hyde, who had resided in the house in the 19th century. By opening the book, Adam became entangled in the nightmares of the past, and he and Emma were thrown into an intense situation. The stories of these two people, Nicholas and Adam, collided, leaving Adam with a difficult decision. Who can he actually trust?
Is this a ghost? Or did I completely lose my mind?
This game's story is a little bit longer than the other titles on this list. However, that's not the biggest problem you'll face. The sinister atmosphere, the intimidating events, and the disturbing story are much bigger challenges for you while you're trying to complete it, if you're brave enough to play it in the first place, of course. Nine Child Street is an indie horror game where the protagonist is a child. The main focus being on the frightening environment and the feeling of dread the player experiences. As the journey progresses, you will encounter supernatural occurrences and uncover the chilling secret of the householder. The plot is unique, and it will definitely capture your interest. Not so long ago, an old, solitary gentleman inhabited a house across the road. Yet he has since disappeared, and the house's lights are no longer lit. You are playing the role of a curious 9-year-old boy called Armin, who is wondering what happened to his neighbor. One night, he noticed a light in the apparently abandoned house, and without a second thought, he grabbed a torch and explored the peculiar house clandestinely from his parents. Your mission is to investigate every corner of the residence and search for any clues that can explain the mysterious events. But be careful, you will also discover that you're not alone in the house. Even though there's only a demo of this game and the full version is yet to be released. But trust me when I tell you that the 20 minutes that you'll spend playing it will make you glad that it doesn't get any longer. The ambience is chilling, the house design is eerie, and the dolls inside it will make you even more uncomfortable. This is not surprising considering the fact that the developer behind this game is known for creating the most disturbing gaming experiences ever. And you'll understand what I mean when you see the game number 1 on our list, which also was developed by him. From the Darkness is a psychological horror game with a threatening ambience that will definitely make you uncomfortable. The objective is straightforward. You have to enter a Soviet residential building, discover the empty apartment of a deceased grandfather, and take his photo albums back home. But you swiftly find yourself caged in this tiny, spooky flat, with circumstances getting weirder and more frightening as time passes. The game excels in delivering a thorough, spine-chilling experience in just a single tiny apartment. Players must face the fear in such a confined space, amplifying the already suffocating atmosphere. By rearranging the objects in the room, a single small area can be transformed into a terrifying environment. As you explore the sprawling landscape, you search for hints and items in order to figure out how to escape. It's not quite simple, as you are basically gathering objects while you wait for something eerie to happen in order for the solution to become clear. Until then, you need to keep exploring while you wait for some event to take place. Even though the space of the game is rather small, the fear keeps increasing. You may come upon a room you were just in and discover that the lights are suddenly turned off, or the furniture is in a different arrangement, or you may unexpectedly catch a glimpse of a tall, lanky figure darting into a hiding place. The continual changing of the environment means you are unable to ever become comfortable, and the familiar environment is still just as frightening. Many people also didn't notice that the doll's eyes are actually following your directions whenever you move, which makes you get stressed even more with the feeling of being watched all the time. No matter what I say, it will not explain the exact feeling of being inside this game and playing it by yourself. The atmosphere alone will make you get what I mean. Many elements make the experience special when it comes to creepiness. But personally, I think that the architecture and design of the apartment that's based on the Soviet era are the biggest components that made things way worse for the player's mind. Playing this game and completing it literally require from you to have solid feelings and a little bit of bravery. I'm not exaggerating, it provides some of the most intense jump scares that can affect you badly, so if your health can't handle it, make sure to avoid it. Hopefully today's video was enjoyable for you guys, but most importantly scary too. Because we all know that when we talk about horror games, joy is not usually the primary feeling or even the goal, but the feelings of suspense and dread are definitely the first ones that come to mind. This is not our final list, and we will be making other videos about the most bizarre and scary indie horror games out there. So if you enjoyed this one, please make sure to give it a like, so we can understand how many of you are interested in this content. Until then, stay safe and don't push yourselves too hard.